Good afternoon. Today is Wednesday, October 24th, and this is a Public Works Committee meeting. I'm not joined by any of my colleagues. We're in closed session right now, down below. So all the items today would be the recommendation of me to move forward. If you'd like to address this committee of one, please be sure to fill out a public comment card. Do we have any public comment cards?
Not yet.
Okay, not yet. With that, before we get to the first item, I'd like to propose that we take items 2 through 5 and 9 through my recommendation to move forward on that through, if we can do that, Michael.
And those were items number 2, 5, and 9.
Yes, 2 through 5.
Oh, 2 through 5, okay.
And I want to take one item out of order if we can. Item number 8, and we have before us the Honorable Rudy Savornich. If we can have him come up to speak to this item number 8.
Would you like me to read that into the record?
Please, thank you.
Item number 8 is a report from the Bureau of Engineering relative to initiating vacation proceedings for Park Western Drive, a portion of the northerly side, from Western Avenue to approximately 97 feet easterly thereof.
Councilman.
Mr. Chairman.
How are you, sir?
Very good, sir. So good to see you here this afternoon. Former Councilman Rudy Savornich, Jr., representing Tarragona Plaza LLC, the applicant. A brief history on this item. This item was approved in the last month of my tenure here on the council 11 years ago. In July of 2001, this item was approved by the Public Works Committee and approved by the City Council and forwarded back to the committee for the applicant to accept the conditions that was imposed on them by the City Council. Between the period of July and August 2001, during the transition of administrations, the city sent the notice to the applicant to the wrong address, to where the committee report slept in committee for the next 10 years. In 2005-2006, however, an automatic receive and file kicked in, and this item died. And so the applicant, a couple of months ago, called our office and said, whatever happened to the item in regards to this street vacation that your office took care of for us prior to your leaving? And my councilmanic answer was, I don't know. And so we checked it out, and according to the council file, which is on record in the city, the item was received and filed many, many years ago because the applicant did not respond to correspondence that was sent to the wrong address. And so the applicant refiled an application. All the city departments signed off on it, I believe, except one, and that's the one that I wanted to bring to the council committee's attention this afternoon, which is in the staff report dated August 23rd. It is condition number 12, and that condition says that street trees be planted and tree wells to be installed as may be required by the Urban Forestry Division of the Bureau of Street Services. That was the same request that was made 11 years ago, and at that time, the property was just being finished developed. The applicant has planted trees all around the circumference of their property. And as you know, Mr. Chairman, on portions of the property, you can't put street trees because the sidewalk is too narrow on Western. And if you put trees there anyway, they grow up into the power lines.
Right.
And so that's why we, prior to departing, made sure that the trees were planted on the applicant's property so we would have the benefit of foliage without it being obtrusive to city property. And so we don't know if your staff heard back. We had requested Urban Forestry Division to waive this condition. I believe your staff had as well. We had not heard back. And we would just like to ask that all of the conditions, all of the other departments came back. We accept them all. We support the committee report. And if we ask that item 12 be waived, that would be great. And this item can go forward and we can fix this that has been on the books for far too long. And we appreciate it.
Thank you, sir. Mr. Yu.
Good afternoon, Edmund Yu from Public Works Engineering. At this time, the condition is under your discretion, so if your office or if you feel like that condition number 12 can be deleted at this time, you have the jurisdiction at this time.
I will make the recommendation to remove condition number 12. and move this item forward.
And Mr. Chairman, one more thing, and I know they don't hear this too often, and I think there are times when it should be heard. Mr. Yu and his staff and all the city departments that worked on this project are to be commended for their fine work. That's the type of work that makes us proud, so he gets a councilmanic attaboy. And so they really did a good job on this report.
Yes, I appreciate that, council member. So with that, on item number 8, we'll move to move forward on this item with that condition, removing the condition number 12.
And may we ask forthwith, please, to the council?
Forthwith. Oh, when it comes before us, yes.
Thank you.
Very good. Thank you, sir.
Thank you, sir.
Okay, item number 1, Michael.
Item number 1 is a report from the CAO relative to the proposed ordinance authorizing the use of the construction manager general contractor project delivery method for the 6th Street Viaduct replacement project.
Thank you. As we know, this is a huge project in the city here. I'm going to ask BOE to give an overview of the bridge project, including budget and funding. I know the design of the new bridge was announced last week. So, Bureau of Engineering, please.
Thank you. Alfred Mata from the Bureau of Engineering. I'm the project manager for the 6th Street Viaduct replacement project. A little bit of background first about the project. It's a 3,000-foot long viaduct running along 6th Street from the Boyle Heights community down to the downtown Arts District. It was constructed in 1932. It is primarily made out of concrete, but it does have some arches that span the river. The bridge has been very popular with the film industry over the years. It's a very significant piece of infrastructure for the city. The concrete in the structure has been deteriorating over the years and has caused the structure to be weakened to the point where it's subject to failure in the event of a significant earthquake. Towards the end of last year, the City Council approved a $401 million project to replace the viaduct. The bulk of the funding from that project is coming from the federal government through the Highway Bridge Program, and there is a local match of about $5 million. $1.5 million of that is coming from the city's Prop G funds. Before you today in the report, we're asking for two things. One, for approval to use the construction manager general contractor project delivery method for the construction of the project.
As opposed to the traditional design bid build that's always been used, how is this different? Or explain the benefits of going this route.
Certainly. As you know, most of our projects that we deal with, as required by the charter, go through a traditional design bid build process where we complete the design, and then we send the project out to bid, and then, of course, the lowest bidder builds the contract. So the contractor does not get involved in the project until the bid phase when he starts looking at the plans. And oftentimes, projects run into construction issues during construction that result in delays, sometimes ultimately drive up the cost of the project. One of the things that the construction manager general contractor method does is it brings the contractor in early into the process during the design phase. So you can provide some input and some expertise to the design team in developing the design, so you come up with a design that is constructible. You avoid maybe construction methods that are issues that the contractor might foresee the design team otherwise would not see. So it's a real benefit to the project. You should have a higher quality design, improve the cost effectiveness of design, and potentially avoid construction issues during construction, which would obviously not be good for anybody.
And correct me, the city charter allows us to take this route, is my understanding?
The city charter allows for alternative project delivery methods, but it does require an ordinance to allow the use of alternative project delivery methods such as this, which is why we have this report recommending ordinance for this project.
Okay. Just as long as it's done by approval of an ordinance, is something that I would support to move forward. Is this a better alternative than design build method?
Yes, it is a better alternative than design build method. In design build, typically what you have a design and construction entity that come together and they bid on jobs, and the low bidder would win the project. And then at that point, the city, in this case, would be turning over the design to this other entity. So if later during the design we decided that we wanted something different than what they included in their bid, let's say we wanted to add some feature to the bridge in this project, the contractor might say, hey, or the design build entity would say, hey, it's going to cost us more to design and cost us more to build. You're going to need to pay us a change order to do that. And their motivation will be to make money. You know, obviously profit is the bottom line for them. So they might give you less of an attractive bridge, and particularly for this project, it's an iconic bridge we're replacing. We want something that's aesthetically pleasing and iconic as well. So it would be detrimental to the project to have that type of method.
Can you walk us through the selection process?
We
How does it work?
will be issuing an RFP through the Board of Public Works. It will have selection criteria that will look at contractors' qualifications and experience. And we'll also look at the pricing that they give us. There will be a cost for the pre-construction services, which is the contractor's participation during the design phase, and we will evaluate the score, the quality of the proposal versus the cost, and ultimately, in compliance with the city charter, select the contractor that gives the best value to the city.
You know, talk about out-of-the-box approach, something that I would support. It's definitely a great example of that. And I know we've used this method at the airport, also with the construction of the Bradley West Terminal, and now we're using it here within the Public Works. So, correct me if I'm wrong, is this one of the largest public works projects the city is taken on?
Yes, it is one of the largest, and it is the largest currently in the Bureau of Engineering's work program.
Wow. I have all the confidence in the world that the Bureau of Engineering will take this on and do a good job. I'm going to approve. Michael, do we have recommendations from the CAO on this?
We do. The only thing is we do not have the ordinance, so
Okay.
we would ask
So we would direct
the city
the city
attorney.
attorney to draft the ordinance.
Yes.
Mr. City Attorney, Deputy City Attorney.
Assistant City Attorney Ted Jordan.
How are you, sir?
Good. Public Works General Counsel.
Yes.
What you have as part of the CO report is a draft ordinance that we put together along with the Bureau of Engineering. The ordinance that we will transmit separately, and I actually have it right here, just hasn't gone through its final executive approval, will be almost identical to what you have here before you.
Good.
But we will transmit that separately. If you want to include in the instruction a request to the city attorney to submit that ordinance, that probably helps us administratively.
We'll do
But
that.
for purposes of discussion, you have something in your report that is nearly identical. There's some more typographical things that we tweaked on there. Alfred did a wonderful job explaining the process, and I'm here to provide any assistance or help that you may have right now.
Thank you, Mr. Jordan. I appreciate that. So we'll go and direct the city attorney to draft the ordinance. And do we come back on this or send it? Okay. And what we'll do is we'll send the ordinance straight to council for ultimate approval. Okay?
Great.
Great. Thank you so much. I appreciate that. Okay. Let's go to item number 6.
Item number 6 is a report from the CAO relative to the cancellation and volunteer deobligation of the Vermont Avenue Bridge Widening over US 101 Freeway project.
Good morning.
Hi, Lori Hancock.
Afternoon.
Good afternoon. On September 27th of this year, the Seismic Governance Committee heard this request from BOE to voluntarily deobligate the Vermont Avenue Bridge Widening project and authorize the cancellation of the project. The deobligation actually refers to the funding. The project was originally provided Metro call for project funding in 2001, and over the course of time, because this project runs over the 101 freeway, Caltrans gets involved. They have jurisdiction over what goes on in the changes above the freeway. So they have made a number of requests, and over the course of time, they just keep compounding and compounding. The last series of changes that they required were approximately $3.8 million worth of changes. And because this is a Metro call for project, Caltrans does not participate in the changes. So our project is now considerably over budget. It was originally supposed to be $11 million. It's about a $14 million project now. Since we've not been able to make those changes because they keep adding them, Metro has now deobligated or recommended for deobligation this project. We can go back to them at a future call for projects and get funding for it if we choose to proceed. I want to call out that this is not a seismic governance or seismic project where they're retrofitting the bridge because there's seismic difficulties. This was a traffic mitigation project. And so the Seismic Governance Committee has recommended that we approve this and move forward with the deobligation and cancellation of the project.
Good. So I'll move to and recommend this, the CAO's report, and we'll see this in City Council. Thank you, Lori. Okay, item number 7, we do have 2 public comment cards. If I can bring up Joaquin Macias from CD11 and Ken Kahn.
Okay, and item number 7 is a motion from council members Rosendahl and Buscaino relative to the removing of the street improvement requirement along Barrington Avenue, subdivision case VTT 60113M1 and City Planning Commission 2005-5320 CUZAA SPR CDO.
So Joaquin, I understand your office, or Councilmember Rosendahl, is supportive of this as well as a local neighborhood council. Which one is that?
Several, actually.
Several?
The Brentwood Community Council, South Brentwood Residents Association, and also the Brentwood Residents Coalition.
Okay, go ahead.
Well, thank you.
Thank you.
So the council office was approached by the applicant, Mr. Cahan, asking for relief from a public way widening of Barrington. We instructed him that he needed to meet with the residents and the people that would be most affected by this project, so we instructed him to make presentations and to meet with leadership of those groups that I mentioned. He did so, made several presentations, and overwhelmingly the community groups were in support of maintaining the width of the current sidewalk as long as it was landscaped and done in a very nice way. The feeling was it would make the area more pedestrian friendly, which we want Wilshire to be, and also there was no practical reason to widen the street at that location. So our office, as well as the community groups, agreed that he should be relieved of that obligation.
Thank you. Mr. Cahan.
I actually have nothing to add unless you have any questions.
No, I have just a comment. Thank you so much for working with our local council office as well as our neighborhood councils and number of homeowners association. It's really refreshing to know that we have a developer who is important, who gets the importance of transparency and including the community in the problem-solving process. So just want to commend you and thank you for listening. I appreciate it. Okay, with that, I'll approve this, and we'll see this in City Council. Thank you so much. Okay, our final item, was that item 9?
That's it.
Oh, wait.
You approved it, I thought.
Oh, we approved that?
Oh, yes, we did.
I'm sorry. So that was our final item? Oh, and consent, okay. So with that, any other public comment cards here?
No public comment cards.
Okay, seeing none, thank you so much, Michael. And our Sergeant at Arms, Marco, thank you so much. This meeting, Public Works Committee, is now adjourned. Thank you. And also want to thank Jenny Chavez. Thank you, Jenny. I love you.